5-0. That's the record of Dricus Du Plessis since arriving into the UFC in 2020. 4 fights by finish, 1 by decision. Du Plessis has quickly ascended up the ranks of the UFC's middleweight division. This Saturday night, it is his toughest challenge to date. He takes on the former world champion and #1 contender Robert Whittaker for a shot at the world championship on the line. Many think this fight's a mismatch. Du Plessis is going to get killed on Saturday night. Du Plessis is going to get destroyed. He's going to get manhandled. Time will only tell with that. But how did we get here with the man who's 1 fight away from challenging for the world championship?
I am UFC President Dana White. International Fight Week is coming back to Las Vegas on July 8th at the T-Mobile Arena, and I am happy to announce that we have finally finished the main card. On UFC 290, Robert Whittaker versus Dricus Du Plessis, which will determine who will fight Israel Adesanya next for the middleweight title.
So this is the high point for Du Plessis. Middleweight championship eliminator fight next, International Fight Week, the biggest fight card of the year, but this was certainly not given to Dricus at all. He's had to work for this. And it didn't just start in the UFC. In fact, it took him a very long time to get to this spot. Born in Hartfield, Pretoria, South Africa in the year of 1994, Dricus Du Plessis started kickboxing at the age of 14 and soon became a world-class kickboxer. However, by 2013, Du Plessis had shifted to mixed martial arts, joining the Extreme Fighting Championship, also known as EFC, a South African promotion where Du Plessis started his career on the right foot, going 11-1 with EFC and winning both their middleweight and welterweight world championships. However, that wasn't enough for Du Plessis. Now he'd have to rise the ranks by heading over to KSW for a whole new story.
Dricus Du Plessis takes on Roberto Soldic. And the smart money and the word round the campfire is saying, do not blink, because you'll miss this.
That one just skimming across the chin. Soldic again, looking for that left. Oh, he got rocked.
Down goes the champion with a big shot. That came from nowhere. Du Plessis in there, it's all over. Roberto Soldic knocked down, knocked out. The champion loses the belt. Du Plessis brings it hard from nowhere.
Now, that wouldn't be the last time Du Plessis and Soldic would face off. They'd actually face off later that year, 6 months later. And unfortunately for Du Plessis, Soldic would get his revenge, finishing Dricus in the 3rd round. However, after this, Du Plessis would have one more fight in KSW, then go back to EFC to regain his undisputed middleweight championship before one call would change everything.
Well, congratulations and welcome to the UFC. What's the feeling like of your first UFC fight week so far?
Yeah, thank you, man. I mean, this is massive. Everything came up and about so quickly. They literally phoned me and said, "Listen, you're flying out next week." So, I mean, I took the fight immediately. I was so excited for it. It was. I mean, in the beginning, as soon as the day, I said, listen, I'll take the fight. I didn't even know who the opponent was. I didn't even know what was happening. They said short notice. I said, well, am I going to need to pack my bags? Like, how many hours do I have? I'm still at the gym. Can I finish out the workout? They said, no, you have 2 weeks. Don't just chill out.
That short.
Yeah, it's not that short. So
Now that opponent Du Plessis speaks of the 2-3 Marcus Perez. A good entry-level test for Du Plessis coming into the UFC, but a fight that he's definitely favorited to win. From Abu Dhabi, Fight Island, main event Maurice Sandhagen, Du Plessis gets a shot immediately on ESPN on a main card, and he delivers. A first-round knockout victory for Du Plessis in a fight filled with emotions, filled with nerves, but Du Plessis overcomes those emotions and ends up knocking out Perez midway through the first round.
it couldn't have gone any better, I guess. A first round knockout. The whole week leading up, I stayed calm, and you know, my whole career you try to think about this moment and you expect it. I try to expect it. I try to not get overwhelmed by anything that happens, but I want to be the greatest to ever do this sport. And I mean, who's at the top of the pile? Whoever has that belt. It's nothing personal against Adesanya. I'm not calling him out per se. I'm calling out the guy who has the belt. And the whole division has to know that I'm coming. The whole division has to see what just happened.
division definitely on notice. Next up in Las Vegas, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier undercard. Dricus Du Plessis' first fight in America takes on one Trevin Giles in a big step up in competition.
There's no tell on it, so it just kind of goes up towards your head. Oh, there we go, your Giles.
Good shot.
Huge right hand, Dricus Du Plessis has knocked out Trevin Giles. Stay right there, bud. Stay right there. I got you. You're good. South Africa is officially on the map now.
My name is Dricus Du Plessis. Where I'm from, that's not a very hard name, but I see people are struggling. Mr. Bossman, Dana struggles to say Dricus Du Plessis. A lot of people struggle. Dricus Du Plessis, remember the name. It will be a household name in the top 10 very, very soon.
Now the hunt for ranked fighters has begun for Dricus Du Plessis. After the Giles win, Du Plessis was booked against Andrea Muniz, Chris Curtis, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, and Kelvin Gastelum. However, all 4 of those fights would fall through, and Dricus would settle for Brad Tavares back-to-back years on International Fight Week, UFC 276, Adesanya versus Cannonier, Du Plessis with the chance to crack the top 12. And this fight at UFC 276 was an absolute war between Tavares and Du Plessis for 15 full minutes. The first fight to go to the scorecards in Du Plessis' whole career. Now, Dricus would go out and get the victory. After dropping round 1 to Tavares, he'd come back and win the next 2 rounds. And after some concerns were raised about his conditioning and his cardio, Du Plessis overcomes the odds and ends up ranking up once again in the middleweight division.
Oh well, after a fight like that, you can bet it. There's a couple of bruises, but I mean, with if you walk out with a win, no amount of pain or punishment is gonna trump that. I feel amazing. It was an incredible experience sharing the cage with him. He's one of the toughest men alive, and I feel amazing. I almost got him out of there at the end of the second round. I just ran out of time, but in that third round, I was just landing such hard shots. I could see his nose was broken. I could see blood pouring out of several different holes in his face. Blood's all over the show, but he just refused to go down. I was definitely shocked.
And this is where people started paying attention. The name Dricus Du Plessis was no longer unknown. You knew who Dricus Du Plessis was now. Top 10 UFC Middleweight.
Bo Nickel versus Dricus Du Plessis for Bo's first time in the UFC. December 10th, what do you guys think? That's a hard fight.
Whoa. To this day, I've never seen this fight like talked about other than this one Chael video. Anyways.
And if you're a former main eventer or a former #1 contender and you're taking a guy named Du Plessis, I'm an insider. I watch this sport really close. I know who Du Plessis is. And I know he's really good. But I know he doesn't have the notoriety of a former main eventer or a title challenger like Darren Till. And it's some of those things, no matter how tough a guy is and no matter what he's overcome, there's certain threats that you can put in front of him that tough guy will find a way not to do it. It's not what Till did here. It's not what he did.
Well, I think more than just the insiders of the sport know who Dricus Du Plessis is at this point, but a huge fight, main card of a pay-per-view, the UFC has put trust in Du Plessis against a returning Darren Till, last pay-per-view of 2022, Till versus Du Plessis, huge momentum on the line.
Start seeing his mouth open, that's just how he breathes. He says, my nose doesn't work too good, so I try to keep my mouth open to breathe.
Look at this takedown by Dricus Du Plessis.
And after a huge round 1 for Du Plessis, likely a 10-8, he'd go on to lose the second round, but somehow, someway, even though looking absolutely burnt out, Du Plessis comes back and secures a submission victory in the third round.
Till when he gets to the floor.
That's a huge moment for Du Plessis.
He got it. Dricus Du Plessis, 4-0 in the UFC and coming to the top 10 next week.
And that's top 10. That's history for South African MMA. Top 15 was history, but man, I just beat freaking Darren Till. How awesome is that?
It is awesome, but now you are one of the top contenders in this 185-pound division. Give us your thoughts on what kind of opponent you would like to see next.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised that I am. I told you, I came here and spoke to you on my second fight, and I said, learn the name, it's Dricus Du Plessis, the S is silent. And I told you I'll be a household name in the top 10 very, very soon. Here we are, I guess about 10 months later, I'm the household name.
And on to the top 5. Up next, Derek Brunson.
When you found out that Derek could be your next opponent?
Yeah, no hesitation, really. I mean, there was some logistic stuff. So, I mean, I spoke with Henry, with Coach Henry, and with my team, of course, there was no doubt. But, you know, we have trained together, but not a lot. I think he only trains there when he's in camp. But at the end of the day, you know, being in the top 10, him being in the top 5, like 7 of the guys in the division was already booked. We didn't really have a choice.
I saw Du Plessis' interview, and he got as close to getting this right as anybody is, which is he called it out. He shot on the son of a bitch, and it happened to be Bo Nickel. And Du Plessis said, you told us from day one, all we had to be is exciting. We thought we had to be great. We thought we had to win. We thought we had to be the best. You said we were wrong. All we had to be was exciting. In my last fight, I was so exciting that you honored me and gave me $50,000. You took my opponent, who I served this 5th loss to, and you defended him. You defended that opponent publicly. You did not release him, even though you had everybody else that had ever done what he had done, which is lost 5 in a row, and you didn't do it publicly because you said we were so excited. And my reward for being exciting is I get demoted to an undercard while a guy who's never done it before in the division in my weight class goes to the main card. Du Plessis called it out. He shot on him.
Well, Dricus would find his way into the top 5 with a huge victory over Derek Brunson, a back-and-forth battle through 2 rounds, which concluded with Brunson's corner throwing in the towel to finish the fight. Du Plessis had Brunson dead to rights, and eventually, of course, picking up the victory.
With a result like this, you've got to be very happy.
Absolutely, I mean, top 5 in the UFC, that means I'm top 5 in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, as big as that sounds, I'm not celebrating that. I'm coming for number 1 spot, and that's South African Dricus Du Plessis. You guys finally started getting a name. I'm here in the top 5, and I'm getting a title shot too.
Now, this win made Du Plessis elite, and it caught the eye of one particular champ.
Because this cracker to tell me who the fuck I am, who the fuck Kamaru is, who the fuck Ngannou is. I'm like, are you dumb? As a product of colonization, you're trying to tell me who the fuck I am. You can take the boy out of Africa, but you can never take the Africa out of the boy. I never ever did that to him. I never discredited him as an African. I just, okay, there you are, cool. You want to make a fight, cool. But the fact that as a fucking cracker to tell me who the fuck I am.
To bring color into it, for me, is the most ridiculous thing ever. That is the one thing that, from this whole thing, that really pisses me off, to be honest, is that color was brought into it. I've never even mentioned color because it makes absolutely no difference to me.
Well, I mean, did those belts ever go to Africa? As far as I know, it came to America and New Zealand. I'm going to take a belt to Africa. I'm the African fighter in the UFC. Myself and Cameron, we breathe the African air. We wake up in Africa every day. We train in Africa, we're African born, we're African raised. We still reside in Africa, we train out of Africa. That's an African champion, and that's who I'll be.
Well, this clash between Adesanya and Du Plessis cannot happen unless Dricus can get the job done this Saturday night. And much has been made of this weekend's fight between Du Plessis and Whittaker, and maybe the biggest factor is going to be Du Plessis' cardio and his conditioning. Du Plessis has said that he can't breathe out of his nose, but after a surgery earlier this year to clear that up, Dricus Du Plessis is no longer breathing under 8% oxygen. He should be at full force. So how will Du Plessis be against Whittaker? I guess we're going to find out for International Fight Week.